Hello there, welcome in this latest edition of the SAU Softball Coaches Show. Daniel Gallegos joined alongside by head softball coach Jason Anderson. And Coach, we're here at this Coaches Show, a couple weekends into the conference season. Your team is off to an outstanding start. National rankings are still there at number 2. Let's go ahead and we'll talk a little bit some recent play. You had a series against East Central Open Up Conference play, most recently Oklahoma Baptist. Specifically Oklahoma Baptist. That weekend, a lot of offensive numbers were put up. We honestly could have probably nominated 7 players out of your lineup for Player of the Week, and they all would have gotten it. So really a tough decision to pick. But also offensively, you had great performances in the circle as well to hold the Lady Bison down. Talk us through that weekend, the positives that came out of it, obviously the 4-game sweep.
Well, you mentioned ECU a couple weeks ago, and anytime we can go on the road and get a sweep, it's huge. I mean, our teams in our conference are very good. They were 9-3. We went in there, and I thought we played really well. Got great pitching and some key offense there, and then come back the next weekend. We're right back on the road to Oklahoma Baptist, like you mentioned, and it was prime conditions for an offensive weekend for us and for our team and how it's built. I mean, Oklahoma Baptist has a pretty small field. It's 200 all the way around, which is small for smaller than we play on usually, especially in center field being 200. And the wind was blowing straight out at about probably 15 to 20 miles an hour the first day, and it probably about to 30 miles an hour day 2. So I thought our girls adjusted very well, what I would expect them to do for our offense. We were able to get some pitches that were elevated in the zone, and we were looking for bottom half because you could get them to carry out of there. And we responded well. I think they had great approaches at the plate. And they had a plan before they stepped in. We were talking about it like, the ball's going to carry the gaps, and it should be a day we can score a lot of runs. But you hit on it. I think I'm more impressed with the pitchers because, just because it was carrying out for us, it was carrying out for them too. It goes both ways, and our pitchers were able to minimize their scoring. So I think that was huge for our pitchers in the circle. And then, of course, when we're able to score that kind of runs, it does make pitching and defense a lot easier. But if you happen to give something up, then you're in pretty good shape. But they did a very good job of keeping them off the scoreboard. I think our plan on both sides of the field, offensively and defensively, we executed, and of course come away with 4 wins.
Obviously off to the great start. Still the national recognition with the number 2 national ranking holding strong there, receiving 2 first-place votes this past week. And also, too, NCAA.com did a really great feature on Maddie Dow and just the softball team as a whole. Talk a little bit about Maddie and her senior year. Obviously, her first year you weren't here, but then you've gotten the last 2.5+ years with Maddie, and obviously have helped her elevate her game. Talk about her because offensively, she's a very difficult out.
Oh, she's been a difficult out since she showed up. Like you said before, I was coaching in the conference her freshman year, and I think she did some damage against us. So Maddie arrived on campus as a true freshman and immediately established herself as someone that's going to be able to hit home runs. I'd love to take the credit for it, but it's not anything that I did. She's a great player. She has a great approach at the plate. She's very level-headed. Stays right here the whole time, good, bad, and different, and that is definitely a positive for her. But she is an offensive threat. I think we talked about this in our first show, our preseason show or whatever, when you talk about her in the middle of the lineup, coming off 18 home runs last year, and some of the big home runs she hit in the postseason for us, walk-offs, and just, game to put the games out of reach. She is an absolutely tough out in every aspect of the game and can hit the ball out at any time. If you miss with her, she's going to hit it hard. And she has obviously some protection with Brooke in front of her and Jill behind her, who are also, power numbers. But our offense top to bottom has been doing really well. And that's how we designed it. We brought in some JUCO kids that had double-digit home runs in junior college. So these girls aren't just showing up here and hitting home runs. They're the kind of team that we build, the kind of players that we look for here, and that's the kind of offense that we like to put on the field. And hopefully we have weekends like we did at Oak Baptist.
Talk a little bit about pitching in the circle. We obviously knew Kaylee Garner coming back, saw what she did last year. Her and Kimmy Beasley were ace 1, 1A, 1B. Yeah. They were pretty interchangeable, did very well. So you had the expectations of Garner coming back, and then you had to replace Beasley. You bring in a true freshman that you kind of hoped would fill that void a little bit. Obviously, very tough shoes to fill, but Victoria Taylor, I think, has done well in meeting some of those expectations. Would you not agree?
Oh, she has. And we knew Vic was talented. Vic had several opportunities to go play a lot of places, and she chose SAU, and we're thankful that she did, and she liked it, and she's a great fit for our program, and she has done and definitely met our expectations. She is a freshman, so we're still going to have some growing pains with her, but overall she has done amazing. We're very excited for what she brings to the table, very excited to see her pitch here for 4 years and the start that she's got off to. But we're going to need her. We're going to need Kaylee. Jill stepped in, done a good job. Reagan Nichols got her first action of the year this last weekend at Oklahoma Baptist and threw 2 innings and got her in there. Of course, Peyton Jenkins is returning, so we're going to need our entire staff to get through these gruesome conference schedules as we continue these 4-game series. But I do think that Vic and Kaylee have done a great job. Vic's 10-0, Kaylee 7-0. If you look at their numbers, the ERA's down, their opponent batting average is down. Those are things that we look at. So if we can continue to keep other teams off the scoreboard and keep scoring runs like we hope to do, it's not always going to be like that, but how we hope to do, then it does make for us to continue to be successful.
Mentioned the conference schedule, 4-game series each and every weekend. It almost feels like you're having your home opener this coming weekend, even though you opened up the year with the SAU Softball Invitational. I was back at the very 1st of February. It's been over a month. You've been on the road, maybe a little road weary, but your team has still not let that affect them coming out of it 18-2 to this point. Let's preview this upcoming weekend, Southern Nazarene again. It's going to feel like a homecoming, your home opener. What is the excitement of your team knowing that they're going to be able to play in front of the great crowd again this weekend?
We love to play at home. I think if you look at our record the last couple of years, especially since I've been here, our record at home is just so much better. Obviously we like to play at home. We like to play for our crowd. We get great fan support and things like that. So we're excited to be back. We've been on the road for 4 weeks, starting obviously since we had our tournament here, which we had a great turnout and did well, and then we went to 2 tournaments and then our first 2 conference series. So we're excited to be back. The girls are excited to be back. We made obviously some changes due to weather, and then you wake up this morning and those changes may look like we make the right things, so that's just when you're trying to be a meteorologist and get these games in. But everything looks good. We're gonna go with Sunday, Monday. We're excited to get here at home. I think we're gonna be fields are dry. We're gonna keep it that way and get these girls some games at home in front of their home crowd, and we're glad to be back.
Talk a little bit about the matchup with Southern Nazarene. They're a team that last year made the conference tournament, had one of the top pitchers in the conference, lost her due to graduation, and Kayla Wyatt, big time strikeout pitcher, but they also are an experienced ball club, especially in their coaching staff. So talk about what you maybe anticipate coming into this matchup against Southern Nazarene.
Well, I've said it a million times in this conference. I don't take anybody lightly. I don't care what kind of start they've got off to, whether it be a good start, bad start, whatever. You never take anybody lightly. And Terry's done a great job there. Coach Weber's been there for a long time. She's had some teams that won. We went on the road and split with them last year. Kayla really had our number, like you mentioned, and had a lot of strikeouts against us. But they're going to be a team that's going to come in and they're going to want to win some games. They're coming in with the expectation to compete, and that's what we're going to get. We've said it before. We're going to get everybody's best shot week in, week out in the GAC. There's no easy inning in here, so we're going to have to be ready to play. Or they're going to be experienced. They're going to come in. They've got a pitcher returning from last year that seems to be their number one. They have some offensive numbers there, so we're going to have to be ready to go. We're going to have to, like we talked about earlier, we're going to have to pitch it. We're going to have to hit it. And we're going to have to play defense. And if we'll worry about our side and concentrate on what we can do and control how we can do it and play our game, then I think we should be fine. But every series is big and every series is tough, especially when you got to play a team 4 times.
We appreciate it very much for your time again. That's head softball coach Jason Anderson. He and his Lady Mule Rider softball team back at home after a month on the road here at Dawson Field, the Mule Rider softball complex. It's this weekend, starting with Sunday and then Monday, doubleheaders each day. The Sunday doubleheader starting at 4, and then Monday's doubleheader slated to begin at noon. For pre- and post-game coverage of this weekend, be sure to check MuleRiderAthletics.com. Coach, we appreciate it. Best of luck.
Thank you.